Hi, everyone. Welcome to Mini Scroll, the daily internet culture podcast bringing you the biggest stories from social media, the creator economy, and the digital space every Monday through Thursday and sometimes Fridays. I'm your host, Lauren Meisner, the founder of the youth digital media brand, Centennial World. Welcome back to Mini Scroll, everyone. Okay, before I get into it, I wanted to say if you guys have us in your Spotify Wrapped or your YouTube Wrapped, please, please, please tag me. Tag at Lauren Meisner _ on Instagram. If you guys are sharing it, please share it and please tag me. Our Centennial World Instagram account and our Infinite Scroll Instagram account. Well, our Centennial World one we don't post on, so we don't really check it that much. Annabelle checks it here and there, but it's not active. Our Infinite Scroll one is like my cross to bear. I have no idea what to do about that account. I just forget about it. Like, genuinely, I'll post on TikTok no matter what we're posting online, and I literally always forget to post a reel, like to take that TikTok that I've made and put it and make it a reel. I always forget. So then I'm like bulk uploading. And anyways, that account's a mess. So please tag me because I would love to see it. I would love to reshare it on my personal account. Please follow me on Instagram as well. I know I keep asking you to like rate, review, subscribe, follow me, Patreon, like all these different things. And I know sometimes I apologize for that. And then you guys are like, don't apologize for self-promotion and all that kind of stuff. But honestly, I've decided 2026 is my year of leaning into my strengths. And one of my strengths is that I'm very comfortable, like, speaking to you guys and presenting on camera and all of that kind of stuff. And as Annabelle says, that's the Leo rising in me. So I'm trying to get to 10,000 followers on Instagram because I'm almost there. I've been in the nines for like genuinely years, like literally 5-6 years. And the reason being, I was really building my social accounts for a while there. And then when I went into media full time, I just kind of stopped. Like, I just kind of stopped caring about that kind of stuff. And obviously now all my energy goes into building Centennial. So my own personal profile has kind of like fallen by the wayside, which is totally fine. However, this past year, this is a tangent now, I'm very sorry. This past year, a lot of the brand partnerships that we've done have actually wanted my personal content like involved in it, like my Instagram, my TikTok, whatever. So it's very beneficial to us if I have essentially a bigger profile. So please follow me is my point. Okay, let's just get into the stories for today. So the first story that I have for you guys is there is a bit of drama in the color analysis community. So color analysis is a discipline that identifies what color palette looks best with a person's eyes, hair, skin tone, and other markers. And then it basically categorizes you into a spring, a summer, a winter, and autumn with various subcategories as well. And I actually spoke about color analysis, I think like last week or the week before, because like it is all over my algorithm. I am so deep in the weeds of color analysis TikTok, and I'm really trying to figure out what season I am because I have brown eyes, but I have pretty light skin, and I obviously have like very light hair. So if you guys have a guess on what I am, please let me know. I don't know. I do know that like bright pastels, I feel like those look the best on me. Okay. Anyways, so the point of getting your color analysis is that it helps you dress better, it helps you do your makeup better, like that kind of thing. So this process has been around since at least the 1980s, as far as I could find, but it really blew up in popularity thanks to TikTok these past couple of years. And because of this, there are tons of new people getting certified in color analysis and starting businesses like this. And a lot of them promote their services on TikTok. They share client color analysis, they share celebrity guesses, basically that kind of stuff. Color analysis creator Meg Diem posted a video yesterday calling out an older color analyst for quote unquote bullying up and coming ones online and manipulating her following. So it seems like Meg was inspired to make this video because her comment section was recently flooded with people saying that you shouldn't trust Meg because she doesn't know what she's doing. And the only valid color analyst to listen to is basically this other older creator.
This person, when I first started creating content, I was not certified and I was just sharing what I was learning as I was learning it. So I was relaying probably a lot of inaccurate information. This person started coming into my comments and just every single video that I made blasted me, was like, this is wrong, you're not certified. It was very aggressive and it was shocking to me because at the time I was following this person and I was inspired by them, and I was like, this is so cool, like people my age need to know about this. I was on the very early curve of color analysis here on TikTok. I actually reached out to her because I wanted to say like, hey, like this really hurt me because I had been looking up to you, like found it really like embarrassing that you like as a bigger creator like came at me and started being kind of like hateful. She immediately blocked me. Since then, I have talked to many color analysis creators, and this is her MO. She blocks every single color analysis creator that comes up on her feed.
Meg didn't name the creator. However, there are tons of color analysts in Meg's comment section saying that they believe she is referring to Carol Braley, and that Carol has also blocked many of them. Meg seemingly confirmed this when she replied to a comment. So the comment read, "I can't stand Carol Braley and her brand of color analysis. Any system that immediately puts a person with dark hair/eyes in a winter or winter leaning type is dead to me. She typed me as a true winter. I had an in-person analysis and I am a light summer. Nothing beats in-person analysis. She was totally wrong." Okay, so that was the comment. And then Meg responded. So again, she named the person Carol. And then Meg responded, "I use the same system, but just because you have dark hair and eyes doesn't immediately place you in winter. This is strange to me." So it seems as though it's probably Carol because she didn't say, no, it's not Carol. And she has actually clarified in the comments that it's not another creator that people were guessing. So this has brought up interesting discussion online about how when a discipline or a field in industry gets really buzzy online, then it can kind of change things and get competitive. Because I guess there's a lot of people in the comment sections saying that color analysis used to be a very close-knit community and it used to be very supportive. And now that's not so much the case because it's super popular online, and that brings about, other changes where people are trying to become a color analyst or just any type of field that's popular, right? Like people are trying to get into that field because they know they can make money in it. It's trendy, it's buzzy, that kind of stuff. I think the interesting thing that I've learned though through this saga is that color analysis is not as scientific, I guess, as I assumed it was. Because in all the discourse around this, there's people like, it's crazy that she's blocking other creators because the point is to like learn off of each other because we see colors differently. Everybody kind of has different opinions on things. I didn't realize it wasn't like kind of I guess it makes sense, but like a hard and fast methodology, I suppose, like a very like standardized methodology. I did not realize that. So it's interesting, but I have thought about getting a color analysis for the last couple of months, but honestly, I just can't do it. They're so expensive. I really want to go. Like I would want to go in person, but it's just so expensive. But I do see how it like changes how people look. Like I really do see how it changes people's entire aesthetic. It is very cool. Okay, the next story that I have for you guys is Tana Mongeau has talked about the impact of Reddit on her self-perception on a new podcast episode. So Tana's on a bit of like a podcast guest tour right now. She's been going on so many shows, and she was recently on the Girls Disrupted podcast, where she was asked about the fan experience while she did the Canceled podcast with Brooke Schofield. And here's what she said.
I'm always so curious about this, like when you're working with a friend, did you ever let, like even subconsciously, I guess the fan base kind of dictate the way you felt about Brooke, or were you able to separate the noise from what was real between you guys?
I could definitely like separate the thing. I think the human brain is also so interesting.
Yeah.
I've been like really interested lately in confirmation bias and realizing how much I'm like a victim of it. If you're convinced someone it doesn't like you, or they're mad at you, or you're convinced that someone like likes you, loves you, whatever, like they could say 8 nice things and then look at you the wrong way one time, and like it's feeding your confirmation bias. And like the internet can definitely do that to you. You know what I mean? Like those Reddit threads and all of those things can like create this confirmation bias that you can easily fall victim to and stuff. But like, I don't know. It was just so much more layered than that, right? 'Cause it's like, I'm sure those people are still writing threads like right now about us. And it's like they're still not done.
So if you guys don't know, the canceled like subreddit and the fandom, I don't know. I guess it kind of changed over the years. Like it was very back and forth, but by the end of it, there was a lot of belief from the fans that Tana was kind of over Brooke. And a lot of people have now said that Tana has very much seemed to like drop Brooke since Canceled ended. But it's interesting that she's saying like the feedback from Reddit, of course, can impact her self-perception, but it can also impact how she felt about Brooke and how she felt about relationships in her life and things like that. I guess it makes sense. I think from this answer, I gather two things. The first is that it's clear that Tana and Brooke really didn't think a lot of the criticism that they got online while doing Canceled was valid, which I don't think would come as a huge surprise to anyone that was following Canceled very closely. But second, I also gather that it's very hard to drown out that noise even if you feel very differently about a situation or about a person or about your relationship, when there's thousands, if not millions of people telling you or speculating that you feel a certain way, Tana's kind of saying, at least I gather from this quote, that, it's really hard to drown that out and to make your own opinions about things and to stick to those. And I mean, that makes sense. Like, I think we should not be privy to thousands of, if not millions of people's opinions about us and our lives, like ever. I think that's incredibly unnatural. And I totally understand how it's impactful. I also did want to say, this is a bit of an aside, but it's related to Canceled and Brooke. So anytime Brooke is posting on TikTok, people will take the photo of her fiance Miles and the girl that he was allegedly dating, supposedly in a relationship with, when he was like in his late 20s and she was a minor. I think she was like 15 or 16, maybe 17. She was a teenager. She was under 18. She was a minor, okay? But people will post those photos. And she's been drawing attention to this because she comments like, ha 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 ha, or like, love this, and like likes them and stuff like that, which is crazy in and of itself. But while I think it's completely valid to question Miles and, to question, I guess, Brooke continuing to be in a relationship with this man, I also think for the girl who's in the photos, who was a minor at the time, I do think it's not great to be posting her photo. Like, we're all presuming, groomed her to be posting that photo constantly on the internet, on videos. Some of these videos have like millions of views. So all these people are seeing her photo constantly, these photos that like honestly could be really triggering for her. So we also need to think about what that would do to that girl, where her face now is plastered constantly all over Brooke's comment section, all over the internet, in this very vulnerable time in her life. Even if she doesn't consider it to be vulnerable, I think we can all agree it was probably a vulnerable time in her life, even if she doesn't personally see it that way right now. Okay, and the last story that I have for you guys, like I mentioned, Spotify Wrapped, it's out today, and I wanted to talk about how the reception has been mixed. So first I wanted to give you guys an insight into our Spotify Wrapped, because so many of you guys have contributed to, such an amazing Wrapped for us this year. So I wanted to share some stats because they're honestly really exciting for us. So the Infinite Scroll RSS feed, we are a top 10 show for 32.3 thousand listeners. Our total new audience this year, this is not for high stakes, this is just for Infinite Scroll and like Mini Scroll, Mini Tech, obviously, because they're all in the same feed, is 122,000 for our new audience. That is literally crazy. We were in the top 5% of videos on Spotify. We saw 98% increase in total listening time from last year. And I wanted to share some of our YouTube insights. So we've seen 1.3 million views, 165,000 watch time hours, and a monthly audience of 57.9 thousand. So that's obviously not like followers, subscribers, but that is like audience members who are coming every single month. And then on TikTok, we also saw some crazy growth. So over the course of this year, we've seen 68 million views. And we've had a total of 58 million viewers, like specific individual viewers. So in total, the Centennial World Podcast Network, including High Stakes, Infinite Scroll, Mini Tech, we saw 70.67% total network growth. We have a total of 232,000 unique podcast audience. Our monthly social media audience was 4.8 million. And on average, we reached 17 million impressions every single month. So it was a huge year for us. I thought we grew a lot in 2024, and we did because we introduced Mini, which was like a game changer. But this year, I don't know, these stats are just so huge. Like we grew a lot last year, but this year I feel like we really solidified like our product and who we are and what the brand stands for. And yeah, it's just like so exciting. And, I've spoken a lot about how these past 2 years have been really challenging, and 2025 was really challenging for us, especially from a financial perspective. And so to see really big numbers like this, honestly, it has actually changed my perspective on how I feel about how this year has gone. So I'm really excited and I'm proud of us. All right. Let's get into what people are saying though. So last year for Spotify Wrapped, I don't know if you guys remember, but it wasn't really well received. A lot of users felt like it was AI slop that created the Spotify Wrapped, and it lost a lot of this like fun human touch. There were also a lot of glitches, I guess. I didn't personally experience these, but I saw, like, when I was doing research for this, a lot of people talking about how there were glitches. Like, they would try and watch their Wrapped videos and it would just like freeze or crash their app. So this year's is a lot better. Feels way more human. It feels more seamless. However, this year there has been noticeably more people talking about how they weren't going to participate in Wrapped this year. There are 3 main reasons. So this is directly from CBC. Quote, first, there's artist compensation. Spotify has long been criticized for its dismal payouts to artists. Earlier this year, some Grammy-nominated songwriters even boycotted a Spotify Awards event in response to the company's decision to reduce royalty rates for songwriters and publishers by merging its premium music service with audiobooks last year. Then there was the outcry around Spotify's co-founder Daniel Ek's investment in Helsing, a German defense company. When the news broke that the CEO had been funding the AI military tech company through his investment firm Prima Materia, indie artists like Massive Attack, Deerhoof, and Godspeed You! Black Emperor pulled their music from the platform in protest during the summer. In late September, Ek announced he would be stepping down as CEO while remaining the executive chairman. There have also been a few high-profile lawsuits. Earlier this month, a class action lawsuit was filed accusing Spotify of accepting payment in exchange for promotion on Discovery Mode playlists, which are intended to provide paid users with personalized, curated playlists based on their actual listening habits. Also filed in early November, this is crazy because Annabelle said this before we even looked into this. Also filed in early November was a lawsuit against Spotify alleging billions of fraudulent streams using bots to the benefit of artists like Drake. Okay, so we got the stats that Drake was one of the top artists in Australia, and Annabelle was like, who is listening to Drake in 2025? Like, how is he a top artist in Australia specifically? And then I literally was doing research for this story and I saw this in CBC and I was like, oh my God. I wonder if it's bots. And then the last straw for some users, however, has been the controversial decision to run recruitment ads for the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, as in ICE, which has come under fire this year for raiding workplaces and other spots in the U.S. and arresting migrants. So I guess the ads started appearing for free users in October, and that really kicked off calls to boycott Spotify. If you guys ever hear an ad on any of our podcasts that you feel like would not align with us, please let me know, because there are, I believe, back-end things you can tick that say like, please do not put like gambling ads or whatever on my podcast. I believe they have that. I set it up so long ago, so I don't fully remember, but I do believe you can like tick certain boxes. So just always feel free to let us know. Now, the last thing I wanted to mention, there's a major discussion going on right now about TikTok's like pylon culture, like dogpiling pylon culture. So unless something really newsworthy happens overnight, I think I'm gonna do a bit of a deep dive into it tomorrow. Because I don't know if you guys remember the TikTok that went super viral around this time last year of the girl talking about how Beyonce makes American propaganda. So she has made a follow-up video because it's been almost a year since that video. And she talked about what that experience was like, going so viral and having a quote unquote like controversial opinion like that, and what that did to her mental health, to her family members, all that kind of stuff. And now there's like a really big conversation around that. So I want to kind of like dive into what some people are saying and kind of, like just the conversation that's happening online. Anyways, guys, that's it for Mini Scroll today. Thank you so much for listening. I love you guys. Please remember to rate, review, and subscribe. Please Spotify star rate us. Speaking of Spotify, Spotify star rate us and tag us if we're in your YouTube Wrapped, your Spotify Wrapped, all that kind of stuff. And I will talk to you guys tomorrow for a Friday mini scroll. Bye.